Raw tonight was the penultimate episode before the Elimination Chamber, which is coming up in 2 weeks from Toronto. And I can tell you that it was better than SmackDown. I know it's kind of a low bar to set because SmackDown's been kind of shit lately. So it wasn't better by that much, but it was definitely better than SmackDown. And what it feels right now basically is like they're on autopilot until we get to the Chamber. So until we get to the Chamber, and until we can get some of those big names back on TV, we're just sort of coasting into that show. Once we get there, once we have the 2 chamber matches and we figure out, okay, who's challenging Cody Rhodes and who's challenging Rhea Ripley, and whatever angles they may shoot, that night, because there may be angles to set up other matches within the chamber, all the pieces will begin to fall into place at that point. It's just a matter of killing time effectively until we get there. And it sucks to feel like you're watching these shows and it feels like they're killing time. But yeah, you got to remember there's a bunch of names that we're just not getting on television every single week. We're not getting people like John Cena. We're not getting people like CM Punk even every week. We're not getting Roman Reigns on the show. Hopefully that will begin to change coming out of the Elimination Chamber. But it's hard to get that excited for WrestleMania yet because it doesn't feel like the build has really officially began, right? They say the Royal Rumble is the start of the road to WrestleMania, when realistically, in many ways, the Elimination Chamber is really where the WrestleMania build truly kicks off in a lot of cases. But we have the final 2 spots filled in the Elimination Chamber matches tonight. The fields are set, and we had an excellent main event between Seth Rollins and Finn Bálor, Seth Rollins and Finn Bálor, to determine the final spot in the men's Elimination Chamber match. Seth Rollins, not really a surprise, picks up the win. And so Seth Rollins will be going to the Elimination Chamber. And the field now looks like this. We have John Cena, who did not even have to qualify. He declared. So John Cena is in the Elimination Chamber. We know that CM Punk is in, Drew McIntyre is in, Seth Rollins is now in, Damian Priest is in, and Logan Paul. And on the women's side, we had Roxanne Perez, or as Lillian Garcia called her tonight, Roseanne Perez, qualified for the chamber against Raquel Rodriguez. And so the women's field now looks like this. We have Liv Morgan, we have Alexa Bliss, Bayley, Bianca Belair, Naomi, and Roxanne Perez to round out the field. And so that's it. No more qualifying matches. We got 1 more week of TV after this, but no more qualifying matches to kill time on these shows. We're going to have to come up with some other way to kill 3 hours on SmackDown for these next 2 weeks. We also had another match, unofficially, made official for the Elimination Chamber, which will be an unsanctioned match between Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn got dumped on his head a couple of weeks ago. He was back on TV tonight, not medically cleared, but we are going to get some kind of a match between these two at the chamber. I mean, you knew that we're in Canada. Come on, man. This is the first WWE PLE at what used to be the Sky Dome since WrestleMania 18. Hulk Hogan and The Rock. They have not had a PLE in that building since. And they're not going to have 70,000 people in there either. They'll have about 30,000. But a big event like this in Canada, and you really thought that Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn were going to miss this show? Come on now. So we'll talk about that. No Rhea Ripley on the show tonight. No Io Sky on the show as well, although we did get Io in a pre-tape package to hype up her Women's Championship match, which is coming up with Rhea the Monday after Elimination Chamber. But Rhea Ripley was not on the show tonight because Rhea Ripley is away on her honeymoon. She got married some time ago, and I guess only now did she and Buddy Matthews get around to finally going on their honeymoon. While you have people online bitching and moaning about the size of a fucking ring in Australia, these two are off on their honeymoon. But that's not even the ring stuff is not even the most ridiculous thing that people are complaining about, because I don't even know how these tweets sometimes end up on my timeline. I don't even follow these accounts. It must be on the recommended feed. But there were tweets. There were a decent number of them. Yeah, I'm hoping and assuming it wasn't overwhelming, because I don't want to believe that it was. But you would be surprised how many tweets there were from people, and I admit that many of them had Liv Morgan pictures in the avatar. They were Liv Morgan stan accounts for the most part. complaining about the fact that Rhea Ripley was going to miss 2 weeks of television going into the Elimination Chamber. Oh, how could she miss TV? We're going into WrestleMania. We're going into the Chamber. Right? When Liv was champion, she'd be on TV and defending her title. How come there's no Rhea, right? The woman is on her fucking honeymoon. And she still gets heat from some circles of the internet because, of course, there are some very bizarre, weird circles and corners of the internet and social media. But somehow these tweets ended up on my timeline. I thought it was parody. But no, these people were very upset about the fact that Rhea Ripley actually was taking a week off or 2 weeks off to go on her honeymoon. These people are not all there. They're not playing with a full deck of cards, these people. It's ridiculous. This is your Raw on Netflix review. It is Monday, February 17th, 2025. I am the Solomonster. Like and subscribe. Super chats are open.
Say his name and he appears.
Holy shit.
I believe in the monster.
Oh, they're open, baby.
I believe in
Oh,
the
they're open.
monster. Cause they love him in London, in Paris, in Tokyo, America, Scotland, and Canada, and Mexico. They say,
Love this super chat.
believe in the monster.
I love it.
I believe in the monster.
I love it. I love it. I love it. That was our boy David Thiering. That was David Thiering. Was it David Thiering? Yes, it was. Of course it was. Who else would it be? David Thiering coming in with a $150 bomb.
Why is Solomonster a Punk hater? Why does he hate Punk so much? What did he ever do to him?
And there's Fire Panda with a $49 super chat bomb. Back to back from David and the Panda. Coming in hot here at the beginning of a Monday Night Raw stream. I love to see it. That's what I like to see here at the beginning of a brand new week. I didn't even get to mention the fact that before I went live tonight, we had Boots. Where's Boots? Don't hide out now. Come on out. Boots gifted 50 channel memberships. It was a sea of green in the chat before I went live tonight. 50. All three of you. You guys are awesome. All three of you. Thank you very much for the support. Amazing. Love it. Love it. We're almost halfway already to the goal. If you want bonus, be the booker. We're almost halfway to that goal already, so that's amazing. Oh, I also wanted to mention this here before I get into the review. Did a segment on the Sound Of this weekend. Because again, there are a lot of people who feel like the build so far to WrestleMania this year has been very lackluster. Just hasn't felt like WrestleMania, right? Something's missing from the WrestleMania build. There's a lot of reasons for that. Among them, the fact that, again, we don't have some of the big names that you would expect to be on TV in WrestleMania season on TV right now. That's a big part of it. But there are other reasons as well, and I get into what those reasons are, and I map out what I think the WrestleMania card is shaping up to look like so far. There's a lot of different pathways and possibilities as far as the WrestleMania card, what it's going to look like in its final form. But if you missed the segment, we get into all of that. That's from episode 901. Just yesterday it dropped, almost 2.5 hours. One of the biggest sound-offs I've done in months. So if you missed it, go back and check that out. And thank you for all of the kind comments and messages and reviews that you guys have left for the podcast and all the different podcast platforms. I appreciate it. There was no Alicia Taylor tonight, so they had Lillian Garcia in to fill in. Normally she's on SmackDown, but they had Lillian Garcia there tonight to fill in for her on the ring announce duties, and no Jackie Redmond, who was working with the NHL Nations face-off, I guess, tonight. So Vic Joseph was handling all of the interviews during the commercial breaks and stuff up in the concourse. 2 weeks removed, which, by the way, was hilarious because at one point during one of the commercial breaks, they had Vic Joseph interviewing, I believe it was Dakota Kai. And Dakota Kai, she's not as small as Roxanne Perez, but you know, she's kind of a tiny woman. And next to Vic, I mean, Vic looks like fucking Andre the Giant standing next to this woman. So, like, the disparity between the two of them was just hilarious. But we are 2 weeks removed from Kevin Owens package pile driving his supposed best friend, Sami Zayn. Well, Sammy was back tonight in the flesh to open the show, and he said that it's been a tough couple of weeks. He's had time to reflect and think about his history with he and Kevin Owens, and he couldn't think of any two other wrestlers in history whose careers have been tied so closely together, so intertwined. I'm having trouble thinking about that myself. I mean, think about it. From the moment that these two guys came up on the independent scene in Canada, through Ring of Honor, various indie promotions, right? PWG, Ring of Honor, NXT, WWE. They've been tag team partners. They've been best friends. They've been worst enemies. They've wrestled for championships. They've cost each other all kinds of stuff going back well over a decade now. What other two talents can you think of that have been so intertwined in the way that these two have, right? That may be a shoot. I can't think of anybody else off the top of my head. He said in a story that long, there would be betrayal. There would be forgiveness and forgetting. However, there was no forgiving and there was no forgetting after what Owens did to him this time. Owens tried to end his career. Said the problem for Owens was that he didn't get the job done. And Zayn would not pretend that his neck was 100% because it's not. But he had enough in him for a fight, and he said that he would see Owens in Toronto. Now, what this stems from were two pre-recorded videos that they aired on SmackDown on Friday night. The first one from Sami Zayn, who was sitting on his couch at home talking about his neck and the nerve damage, and he's not medically cleared, and just, all the different things that are going through his mind, and how it's going to come down to him against Kevin Owens. He doesn't know when, but they're going to do it again. It's going to be the two of them. Then we got the promo from Kevin Owens in his car. I think he fucking sleeps in his car. Every time we hear from this guy, he's in his car. We hear from Kevin Owens, who says, oh, okay, you want to do this again? I'll tell you what, Toronto. Cleared or not, come to the Elimination Chamber and we'll settle it there. So this was Sami's response. This was Sami Zayn coming out here tonight and saying, basically, I accept your challenge. The only problem is Adam Pearce is not going to allow that to happen, because Adam Pearce, being the general manager, knows that Sami Zayn is not medically cleared. So he comes out on stage. Says he knows everybody wants the match, but everybody in charge. So himself, Nick Aldis, the board, WWE Medical, they already told Zayn the answer is no. And the crowd didn't like that. Said Sami said he would not take no for an answer. He said he's not leaving the ring until he gets the match. And Pearce said, look, I can't sanction a match between the two of you. And he warned Sami that if he had an unsanctioned match, what would happen to him, Kevin Owens, he could do whatever he wants. He could take a steel chair and wrap it around his head. He could package pile drive him over and over and over and over again, and there's nothing that he can do. There's nothing WWE can do about it. And even if Sami won, he would still lose. And he warned Sami this could be the last fight of his career. So he asked if he understood that. Do you understand what this means? Do you understand what an unsanctioned fight would mean? So Sami got out of the ring and he marched right over to Pearce, who was standing on stage, got right up in his face. And he said he knows what it means. He says it meant that he could wrap a chair around Owens' head. He could pile drive Owens over and over and over again. He said, give me the match. And Pearce finally relented and said in Toronto at Elimination Chamber, it will be Kevin Owens against Sami Zayn. And it will be an unsanctioned match. Now, there have been a bunch of unsanctioned matches in WWE history. The most famous of them that I can think of, Shawn Michaels in his return to the ring after 4 years, coming back at SummerSlam in 2002 against Triple H. They had an excellent unsanctioned match. There was a great one a few years ago in NXT with Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. I mean, there have been a bunch of others, but those are the two that really stand out to me. Now, of course, Owens and Zayn, as I said earlier, you knew they were going to end up on the show. You were not going to have an Elimination Chamber in Toronto and not have these two on the show, and they've been all over television. That's the show you're going to leave them off of? Of course not. So you knew they were going to be there. But doing an unsanctioned match makes it sound like maybe they're saving a proper official match for WrestleMania. Like, this is just match one, and it's going to be more of an angle than a proper match. Well, if they're going to run it back at WrestleMania, I ask the question again, what the hell does that mean for Randy Orton? Because Randy Orton one would think is going to be back in time to be on that WrestleMania card. And there's only one man that Randy Orton should be making his target when he comes back, and it's the man who dropped him on his head and put him out of action, which is Kevin Owens. So are we heading for a triple threat match? Are they going to work Randy Orton into the... Because look, you're doing an unsanctioned match. Anything goes. Randy Orton could run in and drop Kevin Owens with an RKO. He could drop him with a punt kick. Help Sami Zayn get an unsanctioned win, which of course doesn't officially count. And maybe we end up with a three-way. Or maybe we do get Kevin Owens and Randy Orton at WrestleMania and we get Sami Zayn and Karrion Kross. Because Karrion Kross has been cutting promos on Sami and calling him out and confronting him for weeks now. He's been putting promos out, by the way, on his social media accounts that's better than what they have him doing on TV. They should take those segments and maybe pare them down a little bit and put them on TV instead of just doing these backstage promos. But unless you follow him on social media, you never get to see any of it. Obviously, they're building to something with him and Sami. They're going to have a match. It could be a television match or it could be a WrestleMania match, which would be great for Kross because that would be a sign they're actually trying to elevate him. Right? He's on his own now. There is no Final Testament anymore. Paul Ellering is gone. AOP is gone. It's just him and Scarlett, which is frankly the way it should be. So I don't know ultimately, what their destiny for WrestleMania is going to look like. But for Karrion Kross, I mean, hey, if you're Karrion Kross, you got to be hoping that you end up with a match against Sami Zayn at WrestleMania because he's never had a singles match at WrestleMania before. Now, there was a Karrion Kross promo, again, later in the show, in the back. He had a message for Sami Zayn. He thought that Jey Uso and Seth Rollins were both delusional because Jey thinks he's going to beat Gunther and Seth thinks he's going to go to the Elimination Chamber. He said, well, Sami was too, but Kross had hope for him. And he said that Sami knew there was always time to turn things around. So again, another cryptic promo directed towards Sami Zayn. Now we wait to see. Is it just going to be a television match? Or are they going to do something together at WrestleMania? Which would be a downgrade for Sami. But again, it would be a big opportunity for someone like Kross because he has yet to be elevated to that next level. And if he's going to be elevated to that next level, having a match with Sami Zayn and having a good match with Sami Zayn at a WrestleMania could just be what he needs. It would feel like a step down for Sami after what he's done the last few years, but for Kross, it could be a make or break match. The Judgment Day was backstage in their clubhouse. Dominik told Liv Morgan that he was worried about Bianca Belair and Naomi coming after Liv and Raquel tonight. But she wasn't worried about it.
I am the learning tree.
I'm worried about that.
Thanks, guys.
That's what I'm worried about. Hey, Chris, thank you for the learning tree. Chris Ludek. Liv was not worried. She said that she was proud of Dom and his sexy self. Dom wished that Finn Bálor saw it that way. Not the sexy part. Just had to clarify that. That's what he said, by the way. He said not the sexy part. But Dom talked about wanting to add a new member, and he's been pitching to add a new member to the faction, and he noted that whenever he mentions the idea, he gets yelled at and rejected by Finn Bálor. So Finn Bálor, who was sitting over on the side, he comes over and joins them, and he was confident that he was going to beat Seth Rollins tonight. Oh, Finn Bálor. That's cute. So he was confident that he would win tonight against Seth Rollins in their qualifying match and said that it would be embarrassing if Raquel Rodriguez went in there and lost to Roxanne Perez tonight. And Roxanne, Raquel rather, told him, you handle your business and I'll handle mine. And Bálor was cool with that. Right before he left, he turned to Dominik and said, no new members. Just to drive that point home. I was thinking about this. There were 3 people who got early releases from their contracts last Monday, a week ago, by Tony Khan. Ricky Starks, who showed up on NXT the very next night. Miro, who I am sure will end up in WWE. And Malachi Black. who I am sure will end up in WWE as well. The only question is, do they wait until after WrestleMania? What I'm wondering here, because Dom keeps harping on, we need a new member. We need new members. We need new members. JD McDonough is going to be out for a few months. Could Aleister Black be that new member? I've been saying, if they want to bring Aleister Black in, first of all, he's going to be on whatever brand Zelina Vega is on, right? That was my thought. And they just moved Zelina to SmackDown, which is why I was kind of like, well, maybe not the Judgment Day. So you would think they would be on the same brand, right? What if that's not the case? What if the new member is Aleister Black and they introduce him on Monday Night Raw as the new leader of the Judgment Day? Because they clearly have been teasing and building, making you think that Finn Bálor is going to be kicked out of this group at some point. What if Bálor gets the same treatment that he gave to Edge? Edge was the leader of the Judgment Day. He got bounced out of his own group by Bálor and the existing members. And Bálor took his spot effectively. What goes around comes around. What if the same thing happens to him and they bring in Aleister Black and he becomes the new leader of the Judgment Day? Because that could work. Him leading that group and maybe even adding another new member, that could work. But I don't know. I mean, all this talk about new members and new members. I think they're adding a new member. If not him, I don't know who else it would be. But the thought did occur to me, maybe that's a spot they could slide him into before WrestleMania. Maybe we get Black and Bálor at WrestleMania. It's just a thought. AJ Styles is back on Raw. We know that. Made his return to the red brand last week. And even though he's still decked out in all blue, his first match back, he took on Dominik Mysterio. They mentioned on commentary again, because I think he mentioned this at the Rumble. Michael Cole brought up the fact that AJ is a former TNA World Heavyweight Champion and a former X Division Champion. I have to think we're going to see AJ on a TNA show this year. They got a big pay-per-view coming up, big building to fill here in New York in July. I think it's Slammiversary. Just saying, that would be a fine night if he's not occupied, if he's not booked by WWE that night. That would be a good place for it. Styles was about to put Dominik away with a phenomenal forearm early in the match when Carlito tripped him up as Dominik distracted the referee. Dom hit 3 amigos in a 619 but missed the frog splash. Styles fought back and Carlito tried to get in the ring, but Styles kicked the middle rope up into his crotch and knocked him off the apron. Dominik tried to use the distraction to his advantage, but AJ caught him with a Styles clash and pinned him. He used Michelle McCool, Hall of Famer Michelle McCool's finishing maneuver, to put away Dominik Mysterio. And the crowd counted 1, 2, 3, but they were out of sync with the referee because AJ hit the Styles clash, rolled him over, went to pin him. Dominik's shoulder was not down on the mat, so the referee didn't start the count right away. The fans did. So they started their count. Then the referee, once the shoulder went down, then the referee started his count. We'll talk more about some referee controversy a little bit later on in the main event. But as AJ was celebrating his win, Braun Breaker, the Intercontinental Champion, slips into the ring behind him. He's in the corner, and he's getting ready to mow this man down. And as AJ turns around, he dodges the spear attempt, and instead, Braun Breaker spears the hell out of Dominik, who had just gotten back up to his feet. So Styles wipes out Breaker with an enziguri, knocks him out of the ring. Braun was pissed, and he ripped off his shirt, and he threw it in the ring, and AJ just caught it. Like, effortless. Just caught the shirt. Like, Kurt Hennig would be proud of this catch. I'm not even sure if he knew it was coming, if he was expecting it or intended to catch it, but he did. So I thought that was cool. I say run that shit at the Chamber. We don't even need to wait until WrestleMania. WrestleMania is 2 months away. What the fuck do we need to wait 2 months for? AJ Styles, Braun Breaker, Elimination Chamber in Toronto, Intercontinental Championship. Hopefully we'll get it there. Because I still think WrestleMania may end up as a multi-man match. We may end up with Braun Breaker defending against AJ and Sheamus and Ludwig Kaiser and all these different people. It could very well be a multi-man match. I'm still hoping for Sheamus. He has to finish his story. Cody got to finish his story last year. Let Sheamus finish his story this year. That's what I say. And do AJ and Breaker at the Elimination Chamber. We had Ivy Nile against Dakota Kai, with the winner getting a shot next week at Lyra Valkyria's Intercontinental title. Lyra came out during the commercial break to take her seat at ringside to watch this match. The crowd was comatose for this match. If you hooked up one of those little heart monitors that you see in hospitals, right, and then you see the pulse, right, it would be a flat line for this match. The doctors would be running into the ring. They'd have the shock paddles. They'd tell everybody clear, get out of the way. They'd be trying to shock life back into the body. That was this match here. This crowd was dead. Ivy briefly worked over Dakota's previously injured leg. Dakota came back with a running boot, actually a pair of running boots. She hit her chiropractor for a 2 count. Ivy powerbombed her out of the corner, and Dakota kind of no-sold it, tried to counter. Ivy caught her in an ankle lock, and Dakota got the rope break. Ivy applied an ankle lock again, but Dakota used the ropes to escape and then hit a curb stomp while Ivy was draped over the ropes. And Dakota followed with the GTK for the win. This surprised me. I was not expecting a Dakota Kai win in this match. Dakota is who Lyra beat in the finals of the tournament to win the championship. But they've been teasing in backstage segments, they've been teasing Ivy Nile as her next challenger. So I just assumed Ivy was going over here to give her kind of a big win going into the title match. And then she fucking lost. So that was surprising. Lyra got into the ring after, and the two of them had a friendly face-off that nobody seemed to care about. It was actually pretty sad. Nobody cared. It's almost as if, and this is not the only reason, obviously the fans are not fully invested in these characters. That's a big part of it. But it's almost as if Triple H has done a poor job of establishing these new women's mid-card championships. Right? Who knew? Who knew when you do such a piss-poor job here in these first few months of establishing the importance of these titles that people wouldn't give a shit? That this is a number one contenders match for a title that nobody seems to care about. During the commercial break, Pat McAfee interviewed Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. They were sitting in the front row ringside, coming off their loss to Obafemi at Vengeance Day. I got a Vengeance Day review up on the channel right now if you missed it. So they were in the front row at ringside. Waller kept shoving this little kid, this like 10-year-old kid in the front row, kept shoving him out of the camera shot, like just shoving him out of the way. And McAfee said, a lot of people had Austin Theory pegged as a multiple-time world champion by now, but obviously that hasn't happened. And a lot of people think that Grayson Waller is the reason for that. I know. Kevin, I know. Kevin says, don't criticize Triple H. I know. The pedophiles won't like that, but hey, it has to be done. It has to be done. That is laid at his doorstep. If you feel like they have not done a good job so far with the women's Intercontinental and U.S. titles, there ain't nobody else to blame. One guy. So people think Waller is the reason why Theory hasn't attained the level of success that he should have had so far. And Waller interjected and said, look, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Sheamus. And instead of banger after banger, it's failure after failure after failure. Okay, then. I didn't know there was this ongoing feud with them and Sheamus, but apparently that's what they're doing. So then we had what was the second best thing on the entire show, behind the main event, which was Gunther, the World Heavyweight Champion, was on the concourse, where normally you would see Jey Uso, right? Jey Uso's on the concourse. He's like this, right? The little kids are all around. He's getting ready to go out there and do his entrance and yeet and everything, but it was Gunther. And he said, he's looking into the camera and he's like, I wanted to feel what it's like to feel the yeet. So he's walking through the fans and makes his way onto the concourse. And one of the greatest things I've ever seen. He walks out there and here's Gunther, right? The most serious star, right? The most serious wrestler they have on the roster. And he is the World Heavyweight Champion and he is standing there and he is yeeting. And nobody is participating with him. They're booing. I mean, some people are, but very few people are yeeting along with him. And the fans are booing him. And he says that, of course, it's a simple gesture for simple people. And he understood why Jey felt comfortable in the crowd now, because he was a simple guy himself. And Gunther understood why the fans didn't appreciate him, because his performances in the ring were like performing Shakespeare for a dog. He said he was the best wrestler in the company, and he was tired of wrestling people who could not lace his boots. So he thought that he could beat some sense into Jey, but because of the fans yeeting along, that gave him a false sense of confidence, and now Jey was digging his own grave. The crowd started yeeting, and so he told them to shut up, and he noted how badly it smelled in the stand. I can imagine. He reminded them that the match would not happen in the crowd, but the match would happen in the ring, and he would outclass Jey in every aspect of the sport. Jey's blood would be on the hands of all these fans. And he wanted them to be honest, and he asked if they really thought that Jey could win at WrestleMania. And the crowd chanted, "We want Jey." Before he even finished his question, they were chanting, "We want Jey, we want Jey." So Gunther decided to go ask a professional instead. He climbed up on the announce desk. He asked Michael Cole and Pat McAfee for their supposedly unbiased professional opinion. McAfee didn't want to answer because McAfee, remember Gunther threw that jacket at him last week, and he's had his issues because big Jey Uso guy, he's always yeeting when Jey comes out, doesn't want to get on Gunther's bad side. But McAfee didn't want to answer. Gunther throws the microphone at him. And thankfully this time, Pat McAfee didn't duck so that the microphone hit some kid, maybe that kid from before with Grayson Waller who was getting pushed aside by Waller. Fucking microphone would have hit the kid in the head and killed him. Thankfully this time he stood there and the microphone hit McAfee. And Cole warned him before he answered, "Pat, be careful." And McAfee responded, "Yeah, I hope he can beat you at WrestleMania." Right? Any given night, anybody could be the better man. I hope he can beat you at WrestleMania. So Gunther didn't like that answer. And he started stepping in a little bit closer to McAfee when Jey Uso's music hit. He didn't come out of the crowd. He came out like a normal person, out on stage, but he was surrounded by 3 referees trying to stop him from coming out. And Jey ran past them. He attacked Gunther in the ring. This led to a pull-apart brawl. Officials got in between them. Jey got the better of it, sent Gunther out of the ring, and Jey led the fans in a yeet chant to close the segment. Simple, yet effective. I thought Gunther was great here. He's got that just shit-eating grin on his face, and he's standing there amongst the people. He's doing the yeet thing, and he's saying, of course, a simple chant for simple people, right? But then again, those are always the ones that get over the most, right? Crotch chop, right? And just think of all the catchphrases and all of the mannerisms and the motions and the trademarks that so many of the top stars have had over the years, right? Simple things for simple people. Those are the things that always get over the most. Why should this be any different? Daniel Bryan, yes, right? It's all simple shit. So this segment was simple, yet effective. Gunther was great, and before he was even done speaking, he had 15,000 people in that building, they claimed tonight, chanting for Jey Uso. We want Jey. We want Jey. And that's what you want when you're going into this championship match at WrestleMania. You want the fans to be behind your babyface, your Royal Rumble winner. You want them to be, dying to see this man come out to make the save or, come out to, attack Gunther in this case. And so it built, and then eventually he came out and he got a great reaction. And you know what? It's better to not have Jey coming through the crowd on some weeks and coming out every week and saying, okay, the music stops, play it again and do an encore. Like, that's fine sometimes, but if you do it every single week, like, you will burn it out and people are going to start to get sick of it. So I like it when they kind of break away from that, and at least off the air. You want to do it off the air for the people who paid to be there that night, but it isn't something that you want to just go to on television every single week. So it's better to not overdo it. Kathy Kelly was in the back. When did Kathy Kelly start wearing glasses, by the way? I think she was wearing them at the Rumble. She looks great. She reminds me of Stacy Keibler when she was in WCW, or Miss Tessmacher. Remember Miss Tessmacher from TNA? Right? She looks like a teacher I had once. I won't tell that story. But Kathy Kelly was in the back with Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez and asked them about the footage that seemingly implicated them in Jade Cargill's attack that Nick Aldis played for Bianca and Jade on SmackDown on Friday night. And Liv said that the footage doesn't show them doing anything, which is true, by the way. If this was a court case, and their entire case was built around the footage that we saw on Friday night, they would lose. And Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez would be vindicated, and they would be freed. And then there's no double jeopardy. So if we come to find out that they did it, they can't be tried again. Like, that's not proof of anything. But she asked them about it. And Morgan said, look, I don't have time for this. And Raquel, she said Raquel was going to squish Roxanne Perez like a bug tonight. Kathy tried to press them on Jade again, but they blew her off. And she was very annoyed. And she said, thanks so much for giving us nothing. That's how every interview should end. Thanks for nothing. She did not look happy. During the commercial break, Jay walked back through Gorilla and into the backstage area where he came upon the New Day. And Kofi Kingston said that nobody knew what he was going through right now more than he, as a former tag team wrestler, going for a singles world title at WrestleMania. Xavier Woods said that they hoped he lost at WrestleMania. And they both laughed, and Jay said, Kofi Mania would never have happened if the Usos hadn't forfeited. Going back to that gauntlet on SmackDown all those years ago. What was that, 6 years ago now? So Jay said, New Day sucks, and he left. Pete Dunne walked by. Woods accidentally called him Butch at first, and then Dunne also told them that they suck. And he made his way out to the ring for the next match, which was Pete Dunne going one-on-one with Penta. I've said it before, and I will say it again. They've nailed it with Penta's entrance. They really have. Turning the lights down, the red light. When the music hits at a certain moment, you got that spinning pyro behind him, and there he is. Like, it's perfect. Like, it's just perfect. It's a superstar entrance. It's great. So Dunn took control early, and he started working over Penta with some joint manipulation. Penta came back with a code breaker. Ludwig Kaiser, he walked out to observe the match as they went to a commercial break. So they traded kicks until Penta hit a Mexican destroyer. Kaiser distracted Penta, which allowed Dunn to cut off his dive attempt. Penta threw Dunn into Kaiser to knock him off the apron, and Penta followed with a Penta driver and picked up the win. So Penta remains undefeated so far in WWE. This was another fine showing for Penta. He is racking up wins. You can't hate on that. And the better part of it, though, is that the crowd continues to be invested in him every single time we see him on TV. They react to the entrance. They react to the Cerro Miedo stuff. They react to his offense. They react when he wins the match. They are with him every step of the way. His comebacks, his catchphrase, all of it. What I didn't like, I just didn't like how similar the finish was to what we had in the opener with AJ and Dominik. It was almost an identical finish. In that match, it was Carlito getting involved and knocked off the apron. In this match, it was Kaiser getting involved and knocked off the apron. So I thought that was lazy, doing the same finish like that in back-to-back matches. Kaiser attacked Penta when the match was over. Dunn was pissed at Kaiser, though. So he yanked him out of the ring. The two of them were trading hands until Penta wiped them both out with a flip dive out over the top rope, and he was the last man standing. We go backstage, and Jey Uso. Oh. We go backstage to Brie mode. Can you imagine? They go backstage, and there she is. There's Brie mode. I feel like we ever see her back on TV, like it's just going to be Brie modes. It'll be like $1,000 in Brie mode, in Brie modes in one night. Maybe I should be encouraging her to return. We still haven't seen Nikki since the Royal Rumble, but I do expect that we'll see her back very soon. Brie, I don't know about, but Nikki, I think, is training to come back. But backstage, Jey Uso was interviewed by Kathy Kelly, and she asked him how he felt confidence-wise. And Jey said, people keep doubting him. They just keep doubting him, and you can't beat Gunther. You're not good enough to beat Gunther and be a world champion. And he's standing here right now as the winner of the Royal Rumble. And he said that he would shock the world again by beating Gunther and becoming the world heavyweight champion. So very straightforward promo. He was all fired up, though. This wasn't like a lot of times we get happy-go-lucky Jey, and he's pausing so everybody can go yeet in between every sentence, which is fucking annoying. But this was not that. This was him being all fired up and clearly showing frustration with the fact that people still to this day are doubting him. And he's going to throw it back in their face, right? He was a little more serious in this promo, so I liked it. We had Roxanne Perez against Raquel Rodriguez. Final Elimination Chamber qualifying match on the women's side. As I said before, Lillian Garcia, look, she got called into duty at the last minute. I don't know why Alicia Taylor wasn't there. I don't know if she's sick. I don't know if there were travel issues. Lillian posted something on her IG that she was at the airport and you got to be ready for anything. So I guess they called her last minute. But Roxanne comes out and they had just aired a video package for her, like right before the commercial break. And she comes out and she announces her as Roseanne Perez. So, Rosie Perez, everybody. Yes, Rosie Perez made her debut tonight on Monday Night Raw. We got they're about the same size, probably. Rosie Perez and Roxanne Perez. But then Michael Cole goes, Roxanne Perez. And then he mentioned like a Cinderella story. This is her Cinderella story, like she's some great babyface. Has he not been watching NXT? She was the de facto babyface in this match, although the crowd didn't really seem to pick up on that. But Roxanne is coming off a very good Fatal 4-Way match that she was a part of at Vengeance Day this weekend. She, I believe, took the losing fall in that match. But it was a very good match. Julia is still your NXT Women's Champion. So Rodriguez had the clear size and strength advantage here. She used it. Perez slapped Raquel twice, which just pissed her off. So she launched Roxanne into the ring post. And Raquel caught Perez in a guillotine and spun her around a few times. Rodriguez caught Perez out of midair later on and hit a fallaway slam. And Roxanne was able to avoid a tackle. Raquel went shoulder first into the ring post. She didn't go shoulder first. Now, normally when someone goes shoulder first into the ring post, they go shoulder first between the top rope and the middle rope. She went into the ring post between the middle rope and the bottom rope and then fell out of the ring. Roxanne followed with consecutive dives, a DDT, and a springboard moonsault. Only got 2. Rodriguez blocked a Pop Rocks attempt, which is Roxanne's finish, which is basically a code red. Bianca Belair and Naomi. Now, they made it very clear on SmackDown on Friday night after they saw the footage and they determined in their minds, we know who the culprit is. We know who attacked Jade. We're going to come to Raw and we're going to take care of things when it comes to Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. So we hear Bianca's music and out comes Bianca Belair and Naomi. They ran out to attack Liv Morgan, who was at ringside, in their Bring It On gear, by the way. Yes. In their Bring It On gear, East Compton Clovers. There they were. You know how I know that? Do you know how I know that? 2 words. Aliza Dushku. I had a thing for her. I still have a thing for her, but I had a thing for her back then. So, Bring It On, Wrong Turn, I've seen it all. And she was in that movie. She played Missy, I believe, in that movie. So, I did pick up on that when I saw the gear that they were wearing here. But did you know she's a therapist now? She's no longer acting. She's not in Hollywood anymore. She's actually a licensed therapist now. Believe it or not. Anyway, this distracted Raquel. So Perez hit Pop Rocks and pinned her to advance to the Elimination Chamber and fill out the sixth and final spot in the match. Belair and Naomi, they tried to attack Morgan again after the match, but Raquel pulled her out to safety. Sarah, I'm telling you, Sarah says, I agree with Solo. I think it was Naomi. I'm sticking with Naomi. Remember Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? You had to say final answer, right? Or it wasn't official. I'm clocking in my final answer. I still say it was Naomi. We'll find out. As with the women's match that we had earlier in the show, the crowd was dead quiet for this. Now, at least here, two things. Number one, you had two heels wrestling. Even though Roxanne was playing the de facto babyface role in this match and got a pop for the finish, it wasn't even, I don't even think it was so much a pop for Roxanne as much as it was a pop that Raquel lost, thanks to Bianca and Naomi. You had two heels. And also, you know, how often have we seen Roxanne Perez on Raw? This was basically her debut. She has not been established on the main roster at all, right? She hasn't even officially been called up. She's still wrestling in NXT. So at least in this case, you could say, okay, I can kind of understand why the fans maybe were, you know, ice cold for this match. There really is no good reason for them to be that ice cold for the first match that we had with Dakota and Ivy. But at least here you can say, okay, I kind of get it. But Roxanne going over, you know, she was the predictable choice, especially knowing that Bianca and Naomi said they were coming to TV tonight. We hadn't seen them up until this point. There's Liv and Raquel out there. I mean, you had to know they were going to show up here, and it was going to blow up in Raquel and Liv's face, and it did. And also, Bayley has already qualified for the Elimination Chamber, and they have been, you know, there have been issues between Bayley and Roxanne of late. They still have never had a singles match. So whether it's WrestleMania or some other event, Stand and Deliver, you know, whenever it is, they're gonna have a singles match, but it could branch off from whatever goes down in the Elimination Chamber. So I'm thinking either Bayley eliminates Roxanne then makes her pay for that, or Roxanne gets a big elimination and she eliminates Bayley, right? There'll be something going on with those two, because neither of them are winning the chamber. But I think out of that, we will then get the singles match between the two of them. They aired a replay of the New Day attacking Rey Mysterio last week at the end of the show with footage that we did not see after they went off the air, which was basically the entire fucking thing. I mean, literally, we saw 2 seconds when they first attacked Rey and then they immediately went off the air. So everything that happened last week happened off the air. So they put it on their YouTube channel, and so they aired it here on the show. They went after his knee, his ankle, up against the ring post. Rey is going to be gone for a while. At least a few weeks. We're not going to see Rey Mysterio. And Woods wished him well, and the crowd booed them, so Woods told them to shut up. And he couldn't believe the fans were mad about what they said to their own best friend, Big E, when they told him to keep his lazy ass at home. They were mad now about what they did to Rey Mysterio, a guy who sucked the life out of every new, fresh-faced luchador in the company. Kingston said the fans put Rey on a pedestal, but he had more championships than Rey did. And he said that he had been in WWE longer than Rey, and Kingston never left, unlike Rey, who did leave there for a few years. Had some really good matches, too, in Lucha Underground. In fact, I think Rey wrestled at least one match, maybe more than one, that was also really good for, remember What Culture Pro Wrestling? Remember that? Remember WCPW? I think Rey wrestled for them as well during his time away from WWE. But not Kofi Kingston. There was no Lucha Underground for him. There was no WCPW for him. He's been in WWE for years and years and years. He said, if anybody should be the locker room leader, it should be me. He said it could have been a lot worse for Rey, and the fans should be thankful that they showed mercy. They could have taken him out back and given him the old Yeller treatment, but instead they gave him some extra time he could spend with his wife. Woods said the fans should be thanking them. Out comes the LWO, on stage. And Dragon Lee is holding court. He's got the microphone. He's got Cruz del Toro, right? Ted Cruz del Toro on one side. He's got Joaquin Wilde on the other side of him. And he cut, again, we haven't seen him get promo time on this show. It was a little promo, but he did fine. You know, it was a mix of English and Spanish. And he said that Rey Mysterio is the greatest luchador of all time. What the New Day did to him was unforgivable. And then he said something in Spanish, and then he translated and said that New Day sucks. And they all ran down to the ring to attack. It was a 3-on-2 beatdown by the baby faces on the heels. LWO, they knocked New Day out of the ring, and Dragon Lee was about to go for a dive when New Day sprinted away to safety. What did I say last week? What did I say in the Raw review last week? Here's how I think it's going to go, how I'd like to see it go. They take out Rey Mysterio last week. He's going to be gone for a bit, right? Now you have the New Day take out the different members of the LWO one by one by one. Every week, over the next several weeks, Dragon Lee goes down. They could take a chair to his knee. Cruz del Toro, Joaquin Wilde. When Rey Mysterio comes back, there's nobody left. There's nobody left. It's 2-on-1. Somebody has to come out to help Rey Mysterio. And that somebody is Penta. Right now, Penta, he's feuding with Ludwig Kaiser and Pete Dunne. Okay, that's a 2-week program. Once he gets beyond that, what does Penta do going into WrestleMania? Is he in the Intercontinental title picture, or does he stand side by side with the greatest luchador in WWE history and tag with Rey Mysterio against the New Day? You can't leave the New Day off the WrestleMania card, right? Just think logically about it. New Day should be on the WrestleMania card. Rey Mysterio should be on the WrestleMania card. What are they going to do? Are you just going to run back the same match you did on TV a few weeks ago? Rey and Dragon Lee against the New Day? No, you do Rey and Penta. That's the match that makes sense to me. So that's where I think ultimately this will be going. And I think it'd be a great spot for Penta too. It doesn't have to be a singles match. Tagging with Rey Mysterio would be a good spot for him at WrestleMania. So they close the show with the last of the Elimination Chamber matches. We had the final women's one earlier. This was the final men's one. And it was Seth Rollins taking on Finn Bálor. SummerSlam 2016 rematch here between these two men. Roderick says Penta would be great, but Big E as a surprise partner reveal would be even better. Yes. I'm assuming that Big E is not cleared. I'm assuming Big E is not cleared. If he was cleared, we would have already seen him maybe in the Rumble. There's been no talk about him lately, unless they're keeping it very, very close to the vest. But you are correct. The only thing that would be better is if we get the surprise shock that Big E has been medically cleared and he is going to wrestle and tag with Rey Mysterio against the New Day. That would be better. I don't think that's going to happen. So if it doesn't happen, then it should be Rey and Penta. But you are correct. So Bálor attacked Rollins before the match even started. Referee checked on Rollins, who told him to ring the bell. Bálor was all over him, hit a pedigree for a near fall like a minute into the match. Rollins avoided a coup de grace, but Bálor remained in control until Rollins hit a suicide dive. Bálor avoided a stomp, and he hit a sling blade. Rollins kicked his leg out of his leg, though. And Bálor tried to fight back. Rollins, though, dropped him knee first on top of the announce desk. Rollins tried to stomp Bálor's head onto the steel steps. Bálor avoided it and shoved him into the ring post and then dropped him on the steps. And then Bálor targeted the ribs during the final commercial break. Rollins fought back. They exchanged strikes until Bálor hit a Pele kick. Rollins hit a DDT and a lion salt for 2. Rollins followed that with a buckle bomb, but Bálor got his knees up on a frog splash attempt. Bálor hit back-to-back sling blades. Rollins, though, caught his dropkick attempt and put him in a sharpshooter. Bálor almost got a rope break. Rollins let go, and he hit a pedigree, and he got what should have been a 3 count. But it ended up being a very close 2.99999 count. And Rod Zapata was the referee here for this match. This was not Rod Zapata's fault. I'm going to say that right now. This was not the referee's fault. Referees always get blamed for this stuff. Sometimes it is their fault, but a lot of times they get blamed for this shit, and it really isn't their fault. But they get heat for it anyway for the fans. You know, you suck. You know, they did that here. They chanted, "Ref, you suck," at Rob Zapata. Or Rod, not Rob. Rod Zapata. And Seth Rollins looks up at him like, what happened? Rollins gets back to his feet. He gives him a crotch chop. And then the crowd popped, which it was kind of smart because then he got a big pop for it, and then he moved on, and nobody was thinking about this at that point. But what happened here, this was completely on Finn Bálor. It was very simple. Rollins went for a pin. Bálor was to have gotten his shoulder up at the very last second. And the camera was right there on it too. The referee counts 1, referee counts 2, and Bálor never got the shoulder up until it was too late. Now, the referee could have counted 3. So, I mean, Rollins was going to win the match anyway, like 2 minutes later. It really wouldn't have been that big of a deal. He didn't count 3. He held the count up, which made it look like he fucked up, which made it look bad. Then Bálor got the shoulder up. It's the classic Kurt Angle kick out. Kurt Angle, he did this all the time. It's the one thing that he did that always bugged the shit out of me. He did it with Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 21. He did it in a lot of his big matches, where he would try to wait as long as he possibly could to get that shoulder up, but he would wait so long, it would force the referee to hold up his count, and it made him look like an idiot. And then the fans would be like, because you waited too long. That's all that happened here. And it's not a big deal. Shit happens, but totally not the referee's fault. This is 100% on Finn Bálor. So Rollins went for a superplex. Bálor dropped him onto the top rope, and Rollins took a nasty spill to the mat. Bálor followed that with a coup de grace for a near fall. At that point, they were trading counters until Bálor applied a crossface. Rollins slipped out and then hit a curb stomp, and he got the win. So, Finn Bálor, everybody. Back in the main event here on Monday Night Raw. Good old Finn Bálor. Great finishing sequence. I'm glad they did go to it. And Rollins, I should know that Rollins did shake hands with the referee when the match was over. So, I'm sure, when he went to the back, he saw what happened. But at the time, Rollins wouldn't have known. So Rollins is probably out there thinking, the referee fucked up. But Rollins did shake hands with the referee when it was over. Again, a lot of people are going to shit on. I was already seeing it. I put the poll up on Twitter. What did you think of Raw? Like, there were other comments from people. Well, even with the ref botch. The ref didn't botch anything. Finn Bálor didn't get his shoulder up in time. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. It looked bad, but it's not his fault. Shit happens. It doesn't take away from the fact that this was a great match. This was a great main event. And even with the foregone conclusion, I mean, who actually thought Finn Bálor was going to win this match? I mean, come on. None of the members of the Judgment Day thought that Finn Bálor was going to win this match. So with that win, Rollins punches his ticket to the Elimination Chamber in Toronto. So we take a look here at what this lineup looks like. John Cena, CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, Logan Paul, Seth Rollins, and Damian Priest. Of the 6 men that are in this match, honestly, all but Priest and Logan are plausible winners in the Elimination Chamber. I'm not expecting Seth Rollins to win, but let's game this out here. Seth Rollins wins the Elimination Chamber. He wrestles Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. There's history there. He's never beaten Cody Rhodes since Cody came back to the company. From the moment Cody came back, he has had this man's number. He beat him at WrestleMania. He beat him in the rematch. He beat him with a torn pec inside Hell in a Cell. He helped Cody win the championship at WrestleMania. A lot of history between these two. So plausibly, yes, Seth Rollins would be a sensible winner in the Elimination Chamber, right? but he's not going to win. Drew McIntyre. I think Drew McIntyre against Cody Rhodes would be a great championship match at WrestleMania. And frankly, it would be a spot that would be befitting of someone, like McIntyre, who had this great year last year, a lot of which he helped carry the entire show. McIntyre and Cody will probably be a title match later in the year. I could see that being a SummerSlam title match, maybe. I don't see it as a WrestleMania title match. I don't think they're going to do it, but plausibly, yes. Plausibly, you could go with the Drew McIntyre. CM Punk, they've already teased it. They could absolutely do CM Punk and Cody Rhodes. Absolutely. They've done more teases for that than they have John Cena and Cody Rhodes. But then there's John Cena, who already lost the Royal Rumble. And my gut tells me they want him to be in a championship match in his last WrestleMania. I don't think he should win. But him being in the title match seems very likely to me. It would be weird because you got babyface and babyface, which is what Punk and Cody would be. But Punk and Cody are like, in many ways, they're nothing alike. Outside of the fact they both came from the same place. They have that in common. But Cody and Punk are two diametrically polar opposite characters. John Cena and Cody Rhodes, they're like one and the same. Cody is basically, he has modeled himself this run after John Cena. He wants to be this generation's John Cena. It would be like John Cena wrestling himself. That's why I said a couple weeks ago that I would like to, if they're going to do that match, see them play it up more shades of gray for John Cena. Not a full-on heel turn. I don't expect that, but a little bit of that, like just hints of it, just to make things a little more interesting. Because I think the build to a Cody and Punk match would be more interesting than Cody and Cena, but I still feel like Cena's number one in the driver's seat right now, I think, as far as who is likely to go over there. But the point is, 4 out of the 6 are plausible winners in that Elimination Chamber. As far as predicting a winner, I think there's only 2 choices. It's either John Cena or CM Punk. Who would you rather see go to the main event of WrestleMania against Cody Rhodes? John Cena or CM Punk? It's going to come down to one of those 2. But the main event was easily the highlight of the entire night, followed by the Gunther segment. I love that. And it's great to see the crowd still reacting big to Penta. He's still racking up wins. So far, so good with him. The women's matches were the low point of the show. And there was nothing wrong with the matches, as far as mechanically. The matches were solid, but just completely cold. So the women's matches tonight, they fell flat. And there really wasn't much else to be excited about, honestly, on this show. Better than SmackDown, but not by much. I'm expecting that to change coming out of the chamber when we get some more clarity on what the card is really going to look like for WrestleMania. And hopefully we get some big guns back on these shows. John Cena's been over in Budapest filming this Matchbox movie. I don't know if filming is over before the Elimination Chamber or if he's going back. But I assume that we're going to start to see him showing up on TV, if not weekly, on a more regular basis. We're heading into WrestleMania. Once the WrestleMania build begins in earnest after the Elimination Chamber, people like Roman Reigns and CM Punk and John Cena, they got to be on these shows every single week. I mean, you miss a week here and there, that's fine. But none of this bullshit where we see them once at the fucking PLE and then we don't see them again for a month. Like, if that's the way it is now, fine. After the chamber in 2 weeks, that shit's got to stop. And if you're building a WrestleMania card 2 nights around names like John Cena and CM Punk and Roman Reigns, those fucking guys need to be on TV. They need to be on TV to build their matches. They need to be on TV. I don't expect Roman Reigns to wrestle or John Cena to wrestle, but at least be on the show. Cut promos. Go face to face with whoever your opponent is going to be. Let the stories play out. And if that doesn't happen, then I'm going to start to really take issue with the build to this show. But I think we're going to start to get that coming out of the chamber. And right now, it just feels like they're kind of on autopilot until we get there in 2 weeks. Let's take a look at the Twitter poll. What did you think about Raw on Netflix? They were in Charlotte, North Carolina. 77% thumbs up for tonight's show, 23% thumbs down. With 900 votes in and counting. That is the way things look so far. Oh my goodness. For Raw tonight, Get those votes in at Solomonster on X. Can't escape this woman. Cannot escape this woman. Yeah, there is a Madison Square Garden Raw coming up in March. I'm pretty sure that will not be the last Madison Square Garden date they have this year, so if Cena's not on that show, he'll definitely be at the Garden at least once this year, but yeah, he should be there too. This is supposed to be his retirement tour. Retirement tour means you have to be there. You have to be there, week to week, if this is your retirement. I mean, Kevin Owens has the best moveset here, but that's kind of the point of doing a retirement tour, right? People are going to want to see you. They're paying to come to the arenas because they think this could be the last time I get to see John Cena. And I could see where people would be upset if they show up and then they find out, oh, well, John Cena's not advertised for the show that I'm going to be at tonight. Boy, that sucks. Yeah, I'd be upset too. There's David's bomb from earlier tonight. David Thiering, my goodness, with the $150 Super Chat bomb. Hey, Solomonster. Remember when I asked on your first couple of days back after your illness if you had COVID and you said no? Well, it turns out karma bit me in the ass and I ended up getting COVID myself Super Bowl Sunday. Good news is I am doing better since then. Well, that is good. I'm happy to hear that you're doing better because getting sick sucks and COVID is a gigantic pain in the ass. So I'm happy that you're doing better, David. Thank you very much for the support. Hopefully tomorrow will be an even better day for you. As you know, we have another show coming up tomorrow, so hopefully I will see you there. But David, really, thank you very much for the support. Much love, my friend. Let me go back and see, because I think there might have been some pre-David. Always want to make sure I don't miss the early ones, since they don't show up on screen here, because of course they don't. Here we go. Hey, the real CSO2 was the first, popping in with a $10 super chat. At this point in his career, do you see Shinsuke Nakamura as a lifer in WWE? I feel like me, if he was ever as happy as people claim he would. I think your message got botched up a little bit there. I think what he's saying is if he wasn't as happy, he would have left. Yeah, I mean, obviously he's happy. They're paying him well. You know, he probably moved his family here. He's established a life here now for almost a decade, right? He's been here for almost a decade. He debuted in Dallas in NXT in 2016. So he's been here for a while. It feels to me, yeah, I mean, basically he's going to be here for the foreseeable future. I think at this point that's safe to say. If he wanted to go back to New Japan or something like that, he's had plenty of chances to do so. Solomonster looks like Hogan's brother in No Holds Bar. I look like Randy? Randy was his brother in No Holds Bar. That's the one that Zeus beat up. Remember when Randy was in the neck brace? He was in traction, like in the hospital. And he was there at the final fight between Rip and Zeus. And Hogan looks out into the crowd. I think it was, he looks out into the crowd. Randy's in his wheelchair and the little pinky starts to move. And that motivates Hogan. Little pinky starts to move. Well, I definitely look like Randy more than I look like Hogan. I have that freaking Fu Manchu. That's right. Charlotte in the bank says, no, that guy looks like Solomonster. That's right. I don't think I've seen that guy in anything else. That's the only movie I've ever seen that guy in. Carlos with the $9.99. So Seth can take a coup de grace after falling from the top rope and then kick out, but Finn can't kick out of one stomp. I knew Seth was going over, but damn. Justice for Finn Bálor. He gets paid very well to take those pins. You know, they just had a report out from Fightful that the minimum salary for a WWE main roster star now is said to be $350,000 a year. That's the minimum. So you know Finn Balor's making a lot more than that. gets paid a lot of money to take those pins. I'd take those pins too if they wanted to pay me the kind of money they're paying him. Jerome Eugenio, I can't wait for Sammy and Owens to be friends again so they can break up again just in time for next year's WrestleMania. I'd give them a little more credit. I would say WrestleMania 43. Not WrestleMania 42. All right, here we go. Let's catch up now. Josh Herman with the $4.99. Listen to your Vengeance Day review. I was there live. The crowd was hyped up for this event. Such a great atmosphere. Let's go Stephanie and Julia. Stephanie, Julia, and Jordan Grace. Those are the three ladies leading the NXT women's division right now. I would say that division's in pretty good hands. Baby Fire Panda is with us tonight. Singing Bad Romance by Lady Gaga. You know, I have sang that song many years ago. I sang that song in karaoke. I didn't sing it as well as she does, though. But I did sing that song. Fire Panda, thank you very much. I want your love and all your lover's revenge. You and me could write a bad romance. David Thiering. Also, Solomonster, I found out on February 12 that I passed my professional engineering exam. I'm on my way to becoming a PE in the state of Wisconsin in 2025. Well, that's awesome. Congratulations. I could not pass a professional engineering exam, so that's one thing that you have up on me. On a bad romance. Dev to Dust. Do you want to be a track worker for New York City Transit? I don't want to take New York City Transit. Why the hell would I want to be a track worker for New York City Transit? So I could pick up dead bodies off the tracks when they get pushed? This journey called life. I really liked the red gear on Penta tonight. But what took me out of enjoying the match was that he did not sell his hand being targeted by Dunn at all. Well, I guess I'm so used to him like not selling big moves when I would watch him in AEW that I feel like he's doing a better job of selling, body parts and things in WWE now. But yeah, he could have done a better job. But there are other matches tonight that I think you could say the same thing for. He's hardly the only culprit here, but yes, he could have done a better job of selling that. Barry MK, Liv looked amazing tonight. It's all I could think of. Easy there, big fella. Yeah, she wasn't wearing the Daisy Dukes tonight. Otherwise, Barry MK, he would have passed out. Holiday 197. It looks like John Cena is making multiple appearances on Raw in March. Does this mean he loses the Elimination Chamber match and faces Logan Paul? He may face Logan Paul, but I don't think that him appearing on Raw means that he's facing Logan Paul. I would not read too much into that. He could very well show up on SmackDown too. Or Cody Rhodes could be appearing on Raw. I wouldn't read into that too much. Super Pony, why does Triple H hate Finn? It makes no sense. I think he takes him for granted. He's a guy that he's always been able to rely on. He's been there for a long time. He's just not a priority right now. He has his story with the Judgment Day. I do think it will lead somewhere, but he's not in the world title picture in his mind. It's just he's not part of those plans. Chris Ludek. Have you gone on the Jericho cruise by any chance? If so, would you recommend it? If not, would you consider going and think it's worth the price? I know Good Mike Work went on one and enjoyed it. Good Mike Work did go on one. I know this because I met Greg on that cruise. We were on the same one. And so that was in 2020. So as COVID was spreading, we didn't know it. We didn't know it. Could have been on that ship for all we know. But that was my first cruise, and that will probably be my last cruise. I enjoyed it too. It's too bad, but yeah, after that, I pretty much swore off cruising. So, is it worth it? I think it is. If you're a wrestling fan, they do a good job of incorporating various wrestling-related activities. They have matches on the ship. When I went, they had a good food selection. Like one night we ate hibachi, and then we had something else for dinner. So there's plenty of food and entertainment and pools, and they will dock for at least a day somewhere, some island somewhere. It changes every year. Again, I haven't been on the cruise in 5 years, so I don't know what the locations are now. We left out of Miami, which I think is where they always leave out of. But yeah, I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it. I met Jericho's dad, too. Ted Irvin. He's a good guy. Joseph Stewart, does the Judgment Day storyline with Dom and Finn remind you of Off the Rock? He says, okay. Reminds you of The Rock and Farouk, Nation of Domination storyline. No. No, it doesn't. It's two totally different things. Yes. Go back and listen. Lillian Garcia called her Roxanne Perez. I fucking died. It's like Rosie Perez. Joseph Stewart, do you think The Rock is now more remembered as the face of the Attitude Era than Stone Cold is now, with Rock more in the public eye than Stone Cold is? Absolutely not. No. Just because The Rock is more in the public eye now means that people associate him with an era from 30 years ago? Like, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. No. I think Attitude Era, Rock was a big part of it. So was Mick Foley and Undertaker and Triple H and Kane. The face of the Attitude Era is Stone Cold Steve Austin. Austin versus McMahon. That's the face of the Attitude Era. Alex with the 25. Brother Solo, you need some Brie mode tonight. Do I? Do I, though? My question is, after this year's Mania, should Triple H and WWE ignore The Rock, whether or not he commits to a match, and ignore him completely and solely focus on their talent? I mean, they should always focus on their talent and just assume that Rock will not be a part of the show, and hope that if he is planning on being a part of the show, he gives them enough of a heads up. And then it's kind of a bonus where it's like, oh, okay, we get to work The Rock into a big story at WrestleMania. Because he's still box office for them. Still a big name. But I think the way to operate would just be like, okay, we're going to come up with our stories. We're going to focus on our guys and keep an open line of communication with him so that by a certain deadline or a certain point, it's like, if we know by this point whether or not he's going to be a part of the WrestleMania build, we can incorporate him into it. Otherwise, I would just go through each preparation each year for WrestleMania under the assumption that he will not be a part of the show. You have to just assume he will not be a part of the show. Dallas, 39 months of channel membership. In the Rumble, Roman eliminated Braun Breaker the same way Batista eliminated him in 2014. Do you think that we see Roman against Braun in late 2025, early 2026? I don't think in 2025. I think that'll be a match we get eventually, but probably not this year. Especially with them being on two separate brands. Not that seems to matter these days. This journey called life. Did the teacher you had with glasses give you detention? Thank you, this journey called life. Tonga Loa Superfan. Would you have Tonga Loa go straight into a feud with Jey and Gunther to unify with the World Heavyweight Championship after he beats Cody at WrestleMania? Or do you have a better idea for Tonga Loa post-WrestleMania? I do have a better idea for Tonga Loa post-WrestleMania. I think that Tonga Loa should go to NXT. You got to spread the love, right? Why should they be deprived of Tonga Loa? Let him go to NXT, and then he could start making appearances in TNA because they have the working relationship, so they could send him to TNA, and then he could work there for 6 or 8 or, 15 months. That's what I would do, right? Spread the wealth around, man. Everybody should want a little piece of Tonga Loa. Alex with the 25. Brie, the current favorite to win the 2026 Rumble. In Saudi and headline Mania 42 with Brother Solo in attendance cheering her on. See, Alex is doing his fantasy booking again. Bobby Means, what if Damian Priest wins the men's chamber and Alexa Bliss wins the women's chamber? This alone would flip WrestleMania 41 upside down. Who knows? Yeah, if you want to flip it the wrong way, sure. Yeah, you could do that. I wouldn't. Damian Priest winning the Elimination Chamber? No thank you. Devin from New Jersey, 2000. If Hogan used Eye of the Tiger instead of Real American throughout his career, would that be Solo's favorite theme? I think Eye of the Tiger is a great theme. Would it be my favorite? I don't know. Maybe I would associate it with a time period as a young fan that I am fond of, and maybe it would be. It might be because it's still a fucking great theme. If I constantly heard it, watching Hogan for all those years, it might be. If I had never heard Real American, yeah, it might be. It's possible. Nick Grasso with the 1999. I don't understand why they would do the Dakota-Lyra rematch just for Dakota to lose again, because I don't see Lyra losing the title in her first defense. Also, what's going on with Becky? Have not heard much about her. It's a little surprising, yeah. I think there's still time, certainly, to get her back on TV for the build to Mania. I still feel like if she comes back, you've got a match with her and Lyra that actually might breathe life into this Intercontinental title. I think it would actually help the championship, frankly. But I've heard nothing of late about Becky Lynch. Demetrius Hodge, how do you feel about Jey winning the world title at Mania and we get the WrestleMania 10 ending? Roman standing outside the ring looking pissed. Why would he look pissed? I don't think that would make sense. I mean, Owen looking pissed made sense. Roman looking pissed. I mean, what? Because he didn't have the chance to win the world championship back and Jey did, so he's jealous? I know Roman's character really hasn't changed since he came back. He's still a douche, but he is a babyface, right? I mean, they do consider him to be a babyface, and he gets babyface reactions, and he, going into War Games, when Jey basically gave him that ultimatum about treating me as an equal and all that, I mean, Roman went along with it, and Roman seems to have gotten the family back together, so why would he be upset at Jey winning the world championship? And the only purpose that would serve if it cut to Roman being upset would be to build to a match that I don't want to see. I don't want to see Roman and Jey again. I saw it before. It wasn't good. There's Alex again. Activating Bremo. Man, she is getting worn out tonight. This woman is getting worn out by Alex. Alex, you dog. Arabian Night. Why do they darken the crowd in these packed weekly shows in WWE? Says people complain that AEW does that, even though their tiny crowds are louder than Raws and SmackDowns sometimes. Yeah, I wish all wrestling promotions, so long as you've got people in those seats, light them up. Right? Just like AJ Lee used to say, man, light them up. Let's light it up. I want to see everybody. I don't want to put them in the dark. I can understand it if the building is half full, but these buildings are fucking packed. I didn't notice it being that dark tonight, though. WWE usually lights everybody up enough. Manuel Macias. Had Triple H been in charge 10 years ago, would Seth's chances of being the guy be increased, or would it still be Roman? Also, will Braun be the guy? If Triple H was in charge, Roman would still be that guy. I think Roman was always going to be in that spot, no matter what. Because I think they just by looking at him, they saw something in him that they did not see in anybody else. It would have been Roman. Will Braun Breaker be the guy? I think that I think he can be. You can't predict who might get hot or who might come along, who might get called up from NXT that we're not thinking about right now. And they've got people down there right now, Obafemi and people like that. So I think that Braun Breaker has the potential to be the guy that they build around. But you just never know. You never know who might get hot and who may overtake him in popularity. We got Zachariah with the $9.99 with Jay and Gunther. Triple H has me saying, I love double E. Then on the other side of that coin, the women's division booking has me saying, fucking hate Triple H. Did I catch the two references?
It's the amazing Gunther.
I didn't.
Jerry Lawler
What am I missing?
loves Gunther the Magnificent. All hail Gunther.
All hail the mighty Gunther himself. You know one thing Gunther will never do? Gunther will never yeet. You will never see Gunther yeeting. That's one thing I promise you will never see. But M. Mills, she can yeet all day long. She can do whatever she wants because M. Mills just dropped a $50 super chat. M. Mills, thank you very much. I hope your week started out great. I hope it, and if not, I hope it gets great. Thank you very much. M. Mills, one of our top supporters here on the channel. I love it. Demetrius Hodge, Randy was also Lucifer on Supernatural. Well, I did not watch Supernatural, so I did not know that. Prince Vegeta 95, why is one of the Creeds laughing like one of Judge Doom's weasels from Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Does he think that will get him over? I think he does. I think he's just trying to be different. And honestly, it's just, it's annoying. I get their heels, and I guess they're supposed to be annoying, but it's like annoying to the point where I don't want to see him on my TV. So you decide whether or not that's a good thing or not. George, $10 super chat. Did you hear about the new restaurant on the moon? The food is great, but there's no atmosphere. Since Sidro is not here, you get the booze tonight. Thank you, George. This journey called Live. What did you think of LFG last night? I enjoyed it. I have not watched it. I've seen clips. I did not watch the show. Josh Herman, any chance that Alexa wins the chamber? Yes. Yes. Oh, yeah. There's a chance. I think that Liv is the favorite right now, but Alexa would probably be number 2 if it wasn't Liv. David Thiering. Maze the Great came up with the joke of the night. Professional engineering exam equals P-test. Thanks for the kind words, Solo. Well, David, I'm glad that you passed your P-test. That's always good. You want to make sure you do that. Amazing. Arabian Night, WWE's got to start making younger stars. They should pull a WrestleMania 21, Batista and Cena. Title coronation next year at WrestleMania with their next 2 megastars, Braun Breaker and Jacob Fatu. Well, that's one of the reasons why I was a little hesitant to say that, yes, Braun Breaker will be the guy, because, you know, Jacob Fatu could be the guy. He's a heel still. He's naturally over.
It's the amazing Gunther.
Like, organically. They're chanting his name now.
Jerry Lawler loves Gunther the Magnificent.
Oh, my goodness.
All hail Gunther.
Another $50 Gunther
It's
drop.
The amazing
Oh, boy.
Gunther. Jerry Lawler loves
Two.
Gunther the Magnificent.
Two more.
All hail Gunther. Yowie wowie.
M. Mills. With two more, in addition to the first one. $50 bombs, and that right there just put us over the Super Chat goal for a bonus installment with stipulations tonight of Be the Booker. Thanks to M. Mills. We have done it. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? Everybody thank M. Mills. I don't know what to say other than thank you. I appreciate the support. This is what I like to see on a Monday night right here. Braun Breaker and Jacob Fatu, it'll be one of those two as the guy. You make your choice about which one you think it's going to be. But if you have a company with those two at the top of the food chain, that's a hell of a place to be. Because you got two very talented guys there who are organically over right now. So imagine in a year, 2 years, where those guys are going to be. WrestleMania main event for each of them? Absolutely. Multiple ones. Probably against each other. Alex says Tonga Loa and Brie Bella, the next power couple of WWE. I think Brie is attached right now. Let's not talk about being unfaithful here. Brie Bella has a husband and a couple of kids, and she seems happily married. I mean, I know the magnetic pull of Tonga Loa is hard to resist, I guess, for all the ladies, but yeah, I don't think that's going to be the new power couple. EJ, have you ever heard of eidetic memory, where people can recall almost anything? I've been told I have it, and I think you have it for wrestling shows. I definitely don't have it in my day-to-day life. I'll put my keys down and forget where I put them, but as far as wrestling goes, I do remember a lot of shit. Some of it useful, some of it not. I think I have a pretty good memory for wrestling, though. Here's M. Mills. $50 bomb right there. There it is. Tonga Loa Superfan. It's been 29 years since the last Iron Man match at WrestleMania. Is the time now to have Tonga Loa face Cody for his belt in a 60-minute Iron Man match at WrestleMania? The real question is, can Cody hang with Tonga Loa for 60 minutes? The real question is WWE going to be able to sell more than 15,000 tickets to that WrestleMania show if they have Cody Rhodes and Tonga Loa in a 60-minute Iron Man match at WrestleMania? That may well be the lowest gate in WrestleMania history if they book that match. Can you imagine Tonga Loa in a 60-minute Iron Man match? M. Mills with a couple of bombs. There it is. That put us over the top. Zachariah. The two references was the Vladimir Kozlov ECW promo. Well, yeah, that I know. That's where Double E comes from. I didn't get the other one. The other one is Josh Peck screaming, "We fucking hate." Who the hell is Josh Peck? That's the one I didn't get. I got the first one. I didn't get the second one. I don't know who that is. Jeremy Rose, you're sleeping on Carmelo being the guy. So you are buying into the he is him. Carmelo's very talented. I don't see him being the guy, though. Case in point, look at how Braun Breaker is being booked right now. Look at how Jacob Fatu is being booked right now. And look at how Carmelo Hayes is being booked right now. You're going to sit there and tell me that you think he is going to be the guy in WWE? Come on. Be serious. From the Nickelodeon show Drake and Josh. I don't know what Drake and Josh is. I've never heard of this show in my life. Drake and Josh. I've heard of Kenan and Kel. I've watched Kenan and Kel. I know what all that was. So I mean, I know some Nickelodeon shows. Drake and Josh. I have no idea what that is. I've never heard of this before. I don't have a clue what you're talking about. There's only one Drake that I know, and he got made fun of at the Super Bowl halftime show this year. It was on Nickelodeon when I was. The thing is, like, I didn't watch Nickelodeon that much. You know, those shows I just mentioned, it was more like my brother would watch them. So like I knew of those shows like Kenan and Kel and all that, and Rugrats, and what else did they have on there? What was that other show? Oh God, not Rocky and Bullwinkle. It was I forgot the name of it. It's anyway. So I knew of them, but I didn't really watch Nickelodeon. I really didn't. I watched Double Dare. Double Dare was like, Double Dare was the shit back in the day, but that wasn't on Nickelodeon, though. Cameron Spencer. Doug. Ren and Stimpy. Thank you. That's what I was trying to think of. Ren and Stimpy. Oh, Rocco's Modern Life. Yes. Now it's all coming back to me now. Rocco's Modern Life. Right. Not Ren and Stimpy. Rocco's Modern Life. That's what I was trying to think of. What was that show? Something Temple. It was a game show, but it was like, it was in a temple. Forgot the name of that one. I didn't really watch that one, but I knew of it. Cameron Spencer, would you rather be in a post-apocalyptic zombie-infested world with no weaponry, or be stranded in a jungle full of dangerous animals with no gear or weaponry? And Cross versus Omos, bell or buzzer? I would rather be in a post-apocalyptic zombie-infested world with no weaponry and in a jungle full of dangerous animals rather than watch Omos against Karrion Kross. There you go. Legend of the Hidden Temple. See, I knew you guys would know what I'm. Legends of the Hidden Temple. Did I ever watch W. Mac Masters? Who is W. Mac Masters? Sounds like a general in the army somewhere. General McMasters. I don't know who that is. Hey, dude. Hey, dude. Now you're taking me back now. Clarissa Explains It All. Remember there was a sketch on All That where Kenan Thompson would be laying in a hot tub. He had like a French accent. I remember that character that he would play. Walker, Texas Rangers. Or Texas Ranger, yeah, of course. Of course, Walker, Texas Ranger used to be the lead into Raw for years. Hey Arnold. Yeah, I didn't watch Hey Arnold. Fuck Arnold. What was that other show? The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody? Wasn't that a show? Well, you think on that, because we got 2 rounds of Be the Booker we got to get to. EJ Slem says, it's hard watching Drake and Josh after watching this documentary, Quiet on the Set. Dan Schneider, the creator, was the Vince McMahon and Weinstein of Nickelodeon. Yeah, I know all about him. I heard about him. I think actually he had a recurring role, I think, on Kenan and Kel, right? He was their, was he their boss or something on that show? Yeah, that guy was fucking sick. Creflo, Guts with the hot ref, Mora Quirk. Never saw it. I knew of Guts. I have Guts. But I have no idea who the hot ref was. Oh, God. It's right. He was Dan from the Head of the Class sitcom. I used to watch Head of the Class. I forgot he was on that show. Crazy. Crazy stuff, man. You just never know with people. You just never know. Let's be the booker.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to be the booker.
Nick at Night. I used to watch Nick at Night. Nick at Night had all the classic TV shows. I don't even know if Nick at Night is still a thing anymore. All right, tag team be the booker. We're getting 2 rounds. Because you guys, especially M. Mills and David and Fire Panda, helped us get to our goal for tonight. So we'll have 2 rounds of be the booker. The next one will have stipulations, not this one. Smart Guy was a great sitcom. You want to, it wasn't a sitcom, but you want to watch a good 80s show that I only first learned of last year and watched for the first time? Wise Guy. That was a great show. All right, we begin with the Judgment Day. The original Judgment Day. Finn Bálor and Damian Priest. This was peak Judgment Day right here. Former tag team champions kicking us off and be the booker. And it will be the Judgment Day against the Rock and Roll Express. There you go. Rock and Roll Express in the Judgment Day. Ricky Morton getting that hot tag. Classic tag team wrestling right there, baby. That's what it's all about. Well, may have been Judgment Day 2.0, but that really was the dominant version of the Judgment Day that people, I think, will think of when they think of the Judgment Day. They're not going to think of Edge. Well. Look at that. We're matching tonight in colors. Julia. But not just any Julia. Stardom Julia. The current NXT Women's Champion, Julia, joins us here in Be the Booker. Spin. Let's see who we land on. Who is her opponent going to be? Julia is going to take on Victoria. I think Victoria would have fit in just fine in this modern era of women's wrestling. And Victoria, in her prime against Julia, would have been a great match. Main event time. Here we go. Our first of 2 main events tonight. So if we fuck up here, we'll have the chance to make up for it in a second. Christian Cage says, "Your father is dead." Spin again. That's awful. What an asshole. Well, let's spin again. And we begin here with Bo Dallas. Bo Dallas in the main event. I'm not feeling good about this. Bo Dallas will take on Pac in our main event. I said if we mess up this main event. You know what, though? I'll tell you what. The images here were of current Pac, and current Pac is great, but then Bo Dallas right now, who hasn't done much. If it was the Bo Dallas from NXT, like that Bo Dallas against Pac, who was there as Adrian Neville, like there was a time I would have given that the bell. But see, I didn't look at it as like the NXT version of these two guys. So I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm sorry. I do miss those days, though, at Full Sail. Actually, TNA is doing a live show from Full Sail University this Thursday. A live Impact. All right, it's time for round 2, guys. And I did say that we're going to have stipulations here. So we get one more round. We didn't get the clean sweep. We did not get the clean sweep. Bo Leave. That's right, the Bo Leave version. I want the Bo Leave version back of Bo Dallas. Tag team match is going to have the stipulation of exploding barbed wire death match. Well, this should be very interesting. An exploding barbed wire death tag team match. Bliss fan says, I mean, Bo is the most important that he's ever been now. Really? Really? He's never on TV. You're going to tell me he's the most important he's ever been? I call bullshit on that. Talk to me when he's actually on television. We never see him. You can't say that. All right, we got Power and Glory. Hercules and Paul Roma. Hercules in an exploding barbed wire death match. This is not going to end well. This is not going to end well. They're going to be taking on Brian Pillman and Stunning Steve Austin. The Hollywood Blondes against Power and Glory in an exploding barbed wire death match. I'm giving that the bell. I want to see that match. I want to see that match. Hercules doesn't have to do much. He doesn't have to do much. You can let Austin and Roma and Pillman do most of the work. Man, how about that? This is for the women's match. All right. It's like I'm rolling the dice here in Vegas, right? I'm not going to be in Vegas for WrestleMania this year. I wish I was, but like I got my lucky dice. I'm blowing on it. I'm rolling the dice here. You never know what you're going to land on. Eye for an eye. Okay. First ever women's eye for an eye match. I guess that means that in order to win the match, you have to gouge out your opponent's eyeball. That's the stipulation. That's what Seth Rollins did to Rey Mysterio. Choose 4 women and book a tag team match. Well, how? Wait a minute. So, are we going to have the first ever women's tag team eye for an eye match? Or should we redo the stipulation now? Does the stipulation still make sense to do? I feel like we should change the stipulation. Steve Austin had hair. James is amazed by that. Yes, Steve Austin used to have long hair. Like shoulder length long hair. Or should we stick with tag team eye for an eye? I know there's too many eyes. We have 4 women now instead of 2. So many people going blind here in this match. Let's redo the stipulation. I don't want all of the women to go blind here in this match. So let's pick a new step. Solomonster's choice. Well, this is bad because I'm very indecisive. It took me 45 minutes to figure out what I wanted to do for lunch the other day. Throw some ideas at me in the chat. I'm going to welcome your feedback, and then I'll make my final decision. So lay some suggestions on me. I got some ideas. Pick pick eye for an eye. You want me to pick? Oh, look at this. Eye for an eye. Everyone's saying eye for an eye. Okay, eye for an eye. You guys want me? We could have just stuck with it. This was pointless. If you wanted me to do eye for an eye. Eye for an eye. Fine. Waste of fucking time that was. We could have just kept it the way it was. I got 16 people telling me eye for an eye. So we'll do eye for an eye. Oh, God. Riho. We got Riho teaming up with Victoria, who is pulling double duty on this night. Straight from her match with Julia. She's now going to put her eye on the line, tagging with Riho. Victoria and Riho are going to be taking on Wendy Richter. I already know the button I'm pushing, so. Wendy Richter and Riho. Jesus. I don't believe that just happened. So you mean to tell me that we have a match here where Riho could gouge out her own eyeball? We have Riho against Riho in a tag team match. The woman's going to pull her own fucking eye out. It's like something out of a Saw movie. Riho is going blind. That's it. You know, with a stipulation like that, Vince Russo has struck again. We have been Russo'd here in this edition of Be the Booker. I'm sorry to say. You never want to go full Russo, but we just did. Well, it all comes down to this. This is it. Last one. This is going to be a stretcher match. All right, a little more normal at least. A little more normal. We have a stretcher match. It is going to include... Wait, hold on a second. There we go. I almost redid the stipulation by accident. Rowdy Roddy Piper. All right. Very good. Who will Piper be stepping into the ring with? I always thought it would be cool to land on Piper against Punk. Piper against Cody Rhodes in a stretcher match. Hey, how about that? Rowdy Roddy Piper and the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes in a stretcher match. There's your main event, folks. It's not about how you start. It's about how you finish. And I think we finished pretty strong. So there you go. You got your double dose of Be the Booker. I hope you enjoyed it. Those promos, man. Yeah, Piper alone. Piper alone going off on Cody and his father. Your father sucks. Piper alone would sell that match. Creflo says, I got yelled at as a kid for seeing Silk Stockings. Silk Stockings had like the greatest opening theme song ever. It's just a woman moaning. And then the music is great. My grandmother used to watch Silk Stockings. That was like one of her favorite shows. That and Murder, She Wrote. And Matlock. We got Jenna Tolis. I hope Bianca wins the Chamber. I would love it if Bianca won the Chamber, because then we get Rhea and Bianca at WrestleMania, and I'd be okay with that. Or how about Rhea, Io, and Bianca? Even if they did a three-way with those three women, it'd be fine by me. The Barf Nuggets, 24. Buy or sell, In Living Color or Mad TV? Mad TV. I like Mad TV. Cody will give Piper some libations. Piper will give Cody some other stuff. A little stronger than libations, I'm sure. Grant Hudson, Riho, do you want... He says Riho. He says Riho. Riho, do you want to play a game? What is that? Is that a clown emoji? I can't even tell what that is. So it's supposed to be Jigsaw? Riho, do you want to play a game? I'm telling you, this poor girl has to pluck her own fucking eyes out. Oh man. Riho, the key to that box. The key to that box is in your stomach. Base Beerus, who is your favorite Spice Girl? Well, that's a good one. I had a thing for, God, I forgot all their names, right? We had Sporty Spice. We had, I forgot all the other ones. Who was Mel C? I liked Mel C, and I liked Scary Spice. Yeah. Scary Spice and Mel C were probably my two favorites. Baby Spice or Mel B? Mel B was Scary Spice, no? Do I have my Spice Girls mixed up? Scary, I think it was Scary Spice. I didn't like Baby Spice. She was the blonde one. I like the blonde pale one. I didn't yet. Well, I just described myself. But no, I didn't like Baby Spice. I could join with them. I would be Old Spice. Oh man. You like that? I would be Old Spice. Yeah. Little late on that. The Barf Nuggets. Favorite SNL cast or era of the show? Man, there were some great ones back in the 80s and like early 90s. When Phil Hartman was on the show. Phil Hartman was fucking great, man. What a tragedy what happened there. Grant Hudson, here I am in your life. There you are in mine. Yes, we have a sweet life. Most of the time. Sweet Life of Zach and Cody was one of my favorite shows. Yes, but what was that? That was a Disney show, right? That wasn't a Nickelodeon show. I think that was a Disney Channel show. Solomonster, you are younger than the Spice Girls now. Oh my God, is that true? How old are the Spice Girls? I got to look this up now. God, you want to feel old? Let's look up the ages of the Spice Girls. Let's see, Sporty Spice. I don't know if they were all different ages here. Well, here, let's take Mel C. Oh my God. Wow, that's depressing. that is very depressing. That is very depressing. Wow. Hey, you know what? Mel B still looks pretty good. I think Mel B still looks great. Las Vegas says 45 to 49, right? Well, now some of them are older than that. Mel C, I think, is 51. Can't believe it. Who's the one that's married to David Beckham? Is that Posh Spice? Realize the ruthless aggression era was almost 2 decades ago. It's true. We got Base Beerus, favorite sexy red lip gloss. Yeah, I'm not doing that again. You could go back to that segment and you could guess which one is my favorite. I love how you asked that question right as David Connolly just subscribed to the channel and he's wondering what the fuck did I just walk into? David, do yourself a favor. Do not look up sexy red lip gloss, okay? Do yourself a favor and don't do that. Oh, man. He's going to find Patricia. I think Patricia and David, they're going to end up joining some sort of support group of people who subscribed at exactly the wrong moment on one of these streams. There's going to be a support group for people like them. Solo with his red head. I don't know what it is. It's weird. Like, I mean, I don't know. I don't think I have like I seek out redheads, but it just kind of happens. It just kind of works out that way where, I don't know. I guess I do. I guess I have a thing for redheads. What can I say? I try not to be too picky though. I mean, as long as they have a head, then that's good enough for me. We got D with 24 months. Oh, man. That's his name. D. Perdati with 24 months of of channel membership. I don't know, just based on the conversation we were just having and just me blurting out, we have D. I don't know why that cracked me up the way it did, but it good Lord. Anyway, thank you, D, for your 24 months of channel membership. A lot of D in this chat. Roxy is looking good so far. I'm glad they're booking an NXT star good. Well, yeah, I mean, they're booking her good. I mean, she's only been on the main roster for like 2 weeks. So we'll have to see how it goes in the long run. This is still very early to be judging her booking. The Mount Vernon kid, Solo, no worries. Redheads are my kryptonite too. I guess so. Talking about redheads, I think my face a moment ago matched the color of my shirt and of all the redheads out there. Power Spying Games says, buy or sell Goldberg and Ted Cruz del Toro. Well, we saw Ted Cruz del Toro on the show tonight. He didn't speak. He didn't say anything, but he was there. I'm going to buy on Goldberg. I like Goldberg more than Goldberg. Solomonster was looking like Brock in a rear naked choke from Joe. No, Solomonster was looking like Brock Lesnar after 60 seconds in a match. Except he looked purple. I looked red. Did I watch The Golden Girls? As a kid? No. As an adult? Yes. I think it's one of the greatest sitcoms ever made. Because it's genuinely funny. Golden Girls is a fucking great show. I am... okay. D says, I am Drew McIncock originally, but I wanted to pop solo. Well, you accomplished your goal, sir. I said I don't recall seeing that name before, but yet you have a yellow, gold skull. I said, so you've clearly been here for a while. Finland says, I'm watching Golden Girls right now. 7 seasons. That show went 7 seasons. Got to be doing something right. Is Hikuleo still employed? What a contract he has. As far as I know, yeah, they signed him and they're hiding him away. I guess for when we least expect it. Yeah, we haven't heard his name mentioned recently, have we? Is Roxanne the first one in history to enter the chamber while being in NXT? Tiffany Stratton was in the chamber last year, but was she still doing NXT stuff? I don't remember. It might have been Tiffany. Firefighter Jimmy says, I just looked up sexy red lip. Well, why would you do that? I told you not to. Especially right before bedtime. Tiffany debuted earlier that month. Okay. So then Roxanne might be. Because she's, I don't know if she's officially done with NXT after this weekend. She may be officially done with NXT as of right now. I don't know. Because they haven't told us. So I don't know if she finished up this weekend. That's why she did the job in the 4-way. She could be done. I don't know. Has she been announced for a match tomorrow night? She's supposed to be on the show tomorrow? I don't know. Trell says, I think the Golden Girl's mother was younger than the daughter in real life. Yes. So that was kind of funny because the woman who played Sophia, who was Dorothy's mom, played by B. Arthur, was actually younger than her in real life. They just put the wig on her and everything to make her look older, but Estelle Getty was actually younger than B. Arthur. She might have a match with Cora Jade at Stand and Deliver. I don't know. I think she might be wrestling Bayley, but I guess we'll see. Did I point at the WrestleMania sign yet? Tonight? No. There you go. Right there. There's your as Bill Engvall would say, there's your sign. There's your sign. Yes, and this Ricky Starks guy, who they won't call Ricky Starks, is signing his contract tomorrow night. I love all the people freaking out over the name, like they're gonna change his name and give him some different name. Come on, use your brains, people. Use your brains. Wasn't she in the movie My Cousin Vinny? Who are we talking about? Didn't know the lady from Stop or My Mom Will Shoot was younger. Yes. Estelle Getty and Sly Stallone. And Luis is with us. With a $5 super chat, can you name one voice actor that has a badass anime character? Mine would be Eric Stewart and his badass anime character, Sito Kaiba. Why would I know a voice actor that does anime? I wouldn't mind being a voice actor who does anime. Any anime directors out there? I'm your guy. I don't know any of them, though. How the hell would I know? They should change, you know what they should do? They should change Ricky Starks' name to Ricky Sparks. It's close enough to the real thing. They could trademark it for themselves. Ricky Sparks. That'd be kind of funny. Seto Kaiba. That's how you pronounce it. Is it Seto or Seto? Or am I saying it's Seto Kaiba? I feel like that's not the way you're supposed to say it. Seto Kaiba. Okay. Guess that's how you pronounce it. See, I just learned something new. Well, I just learned something new here, so there you go. Flex Kavana would be pretty funny. Well, then he will have something in common with The Rock. Well, thank you guys. It's been fun hanging out tonight. We've talked about a multitude of different topics, not just wrestling. So hopefully you got an education as much as I did tonight. Base Beerus says, blue eyes, white dragon. I do have blue eyes. And I am white, but I'm not a dragon. I'm going to be back with it. Blue Eyes White Dragon would be proud of Solomon. What is Blue Eyes White Dragon? What is this? What is this? What is going on here? Will Solo be making any LFG video commentary? Not if Solo doesn't watch it. I haven't watched it. I don't know if I'm going to have time to watch it. I've got $1,200 worth of new equipment here sitting downstairs that I have to find time this week to open up and actually start going through. And I barely have time to do the work that I already have on my plate. Now I got to do that. I don't think I'm going to be watching LFG this week. Oh God, not with the Yu-Gi-Oh references. Oh my God. I blame Luis for this. All right, guys. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the love. Fire Panda, David, M. Mills, and everybody else. Boots, of course, with the 50 memberships. Completely ridiculous. I appreciate all the support tonight. I'm going to be back here with you on this channel Wednesday night after Dynamite. It's the first Dynamite coming out of Grand Slam Australia. And then, of course, Friday night after SmackDown. And tomorrow night over on JD's channel for Tuesday Night Titans. Last week's show is, if not at 60,000 views, approaching 60,000 views. One of our biggest episodes to date, so thank you for that. I have a feeling that there's going to be some things we are not going to agree on, so that'll be interesting. But that'll be tomorrow night, and then again, back here live on Wednesday. Hey, we got Matt Fisher. Just got here, but any chance you could start the show over? Enjoy the $5. I'm going to say no, but I'll tell you what. I will just for you, Matt. I will just for you. And all you need to do is when I end this stream, you hit the play button, and I'll do it all over just for you. How about that? I can do that for you. This journey called life. Thank you. I will see you.
Why is Solomonster a Punk hater? Why does he hate Punk so much? What did he ever do to him?
Fire Panda was not done yet. Fire Panda says, you ain't going nowhere. And Fire Panda just dropped another $49. super chat because Fire Panda is the best panda. Favorite Happy Humphrey match? The first one. That's my favorite one. Crazy. I still can't get over Fire Panda dropping another 49. Fire Panda, you're out of your mind. Do you know that? Like, your mind is here, and you're here. You're out of your mind. Crazy says, can't wait to hear your views on the Dark Side episodes, always mentioning information that they don't mention. That's what I try to do with all of my reviews of Dark Side of the Ring. I don't just review the show. Oh, it was good. Oh, it sucked. Here's what they talked about. Yeah, I go through the shows, but they have 44 minutes or whatever it is, and they never have time to include all the information, or they just don't, include a lot of information. And so I try to fill in the gaps, and people tend to really like those reviews. So we will be watching Dark Side of the Ring when that season begins. I believe it's March 25th is when season 6 kicks off. So yes, you will have another season of Dark Side of the Ring reviews to look forward to starting at the end of next month. All right, be well. Stay safe. Have yourselves a great night. I'll see some of you tomorrow night, and the rest of you I will see back here on this channel Wednesday night. Hit that sub button. We are climbing towards 85,000 subs. I can't get there without you. I will see you back here soon for more Sound Off Live. Until then, take care, guys.